day 11, being Pipariki to Wanganui. Got away early this morning. There's a hill to start, which sort of like wakes you up. Anyhow, the sun was just about coming through and I got to the top of that, which was nice, and then basically just follow the Wanganui River all the way. Got about 10 k's out and there was a slow leak starting to become quite evident in the back tyre, so that was alright. Just sort of pumped it up and kept on going. Went to the bike shed in Wanganui, got there about 12:30. Doug and I can't remember the name, or didn't get the name of the other guy there, just super helpful. Put the bike straight up into the workshop and straightened the derailleur hanger. Yeah, always good to look at someone who knows what they're doing. Something I'd figure out for hours. They did in about 5 minutes with the right tool, and then had a good listen to the rear hub and confirmed, yeah, there's something in there, which isn't surprising because it's a 90-mile beach and timber trail and washing it down, anything could be in there. But it's not under pressure, so it's just whenever it's spinning, it's basically making a loud noise. It's just not smooth, it's rough. They didn't have obviously the bearing sets for it all, but and it was going to be the weekend, it was Saturday, so I'm going, okay. So they pumped it full of grease, which improved it a little bit, but it was still there. Their opinion was basically, look, it's just going to sound worse probably as it goes, but see what happens. We weren't really optioned to replace the bearings there because, well, it's the weekend, so they have to get stuff in. And also I did actually check even if they had a spare wheel, but no, they had nothing like that there. But yeah, super helpful, thanks so much. Then basically massive lunch in the local pub of Ploughman's Burger, which was awesome, usual beer and coke. Then walking back to the motel, basically bought another huge feed to have that night, which was bloody marvellous really. Yeah, looking for an early start the next day, so put the new tube in, couldn't see anything in the tyre, and was ready to go. Ducked up to take the photo of the lookout up the top, which is really cool. You walk through a long tunnel for not a couple hundred metres maybe, and then you take the elevator, which is over 100 years old, to go to the top, and yeah, there's the great big orange tower. Yeah, kids actually take it to go to school, go down the elevator and yeah, go to the tunnel. Oh, I think it was cool. Really enjoyed that. Anyhow, started to rain a bit. Anyhow, it was good to finish early, good to get things sorted, a bit more reassuring, and good to have good, nice, smooth gears again. Anyhow, I was looking forward to the next day. day 12, basically Wanganui to Rangawa here, 100 k's. Yeah, fairly easy sort of day really. Beautiful weather. Left very early. Got through to Hunterville, which was just over halfway. Fairly good time. Had a massive meal in the Hunterville Cafe, which is written up in a good cafe. Really enjoyed that feed. Then carried on through some stunning scenery and valleys, and really enjoyed the ride till about 5 k's before Rangawa here, and I came across the institution that's known as Mary, who was there with a motorhome, and dollar drinks, dollar cakes, dollar muffins. Oh, just, yeah, oof. I was well on time, so I stayed there a while, and well, I ate. And then got to Rangawa here, and an old mate of mine, Windsor, who I've known for many decades, met me with his ute, and we went back to him and Alison's place and Ty Happy, and cooked me a fantastic home-cooked meal. I washed my clothes in a washing machine. That certainly makes a difference from rinsing them in the shower and hanging them up. And they dried. Oof, fantastic. So that was all good. Enjoyed that immensely as a break, and yeah, went very relaxed and very comfortable where things were at. Day 13 was Rangawa here to Ashurst, so Windsor dropped me back there by about 6ish. It's not a long way, it was less than 80 k's. Sort of back road stuff. Got as far as Aotearoa, and then the tyre just went flat. Same tyre as I'd had going into Wanganui, so clearly there was something in the tyre. Anyhow, so I changed it out and checked again, couldn't see anything in the tyre. The tyres were starting to annoy me actually. I'd put on these Victoria Mezcal tyres for the Tour Aotearoa, and they just seemed very sluggish on the road. I mean, I'm a slow rider anyhow, but they just seemed to have maybe just too much resistance. So yeah, I wasn't overly impressed with that. So anyhow, repaired it and kept on going, and then just quite stunning going through to Ashurst. One of the photo points was a reserve. You meant to go over a bridge, but as you can see from the photos you were seeing, there's no bridge anymore. That obviously all got washed away, and you could see the evidence of where the water had come up. It was quite amazing. Roads were sort of closed and sort of not closed. They were open again, but I think some big traffic vehicles would have struggled. Got into Ashurst and Russell was home. That was great. We ducked into town, being Palmerston North, and I just bit the bullet and said, look, I want some new Maxxis Icon tyres, and yeah, so I was quite happy with that. We had a couple of drinks in town and then back out to his and had a great meal at home and put on the new tyres and tubes and just going, yeah, that was a good idea. So I was very happy about that. Fairly easy, relaxing day, but it was going to be a longer day the next day. So yeah, great to spend some time with my brother and Kath, and yeah, it was very good. It's the day 14, long day today, Ashurst to Masterton, so 130 k's, up early. My brother always gets up early, so we had coffee and I was away by 5:30. Got through to Palmerston North on cycle trails, dead flat, dead easy, and then basically, yeah, you go up and climb. I mean, it was all rideable, quite steep, good service, not a lot of traffic, so that was all good. So basically got down to Aotearoa for breakfast, which was very pleasant. A couple other riders staying at Palmerston all sort of caught up with me by then. They get up at civilised hour. I do notice not many people are starting crack of dawn. They're usually starting at a more civilised hour, about 7 to 7:30 sort of thing, which is fine. You know. Then basically headed on through to Aotearoa. Had a bit of a bite there again. Realised I was actually cruising fine. Roads were great. Fast. It was a fast day. Really enjoying the tyres and noticing a difference with the tyres. I mean, not massive, but I still think it was about 1 kilometre an hour at least quicker on these tyres, which, you know, over a day is, you know, can be 40 minutes to, easily of time you save. So that was nice. Not that I was in any rush anywhere. So cruised into Masterton in the afternoon. It was a beautiful day. Got there in good time. Went down the local pub and had the usual, and yeah, it was a good day cycling. I was really enjoying it. Yeah, looking forward to the next day. Day 15, Masterton to Upper Hutt. This was just stunning. I basically got into Martinborough for breakfast. Very quick ride into Martinborough. Just, yeah, great sealed road all the way. Virtually nothing in the way of hills. Yeah, I was having breakfast by 8:30 and going, okay. Head out from Masterton, which is really quiet, back roads, and then you some sort of like a cycle trail next to the road, but there's no traffic on the road, so you're going, okay, which one do you ride on? So I did a bit of both. And then you basically get to the trail that goes over the Rimatuckas, which is single track for the first sort of 2Ks, which I was not enjoying, as you can see from the video. Yeah, it's just too narrow for me, wasn't enjoying it. But then it turns into this magnificent sort of rail trail from, when the old railway line used to be there. So it's a very, very gradual climb for the next 5Ks. It's a total of 7Ks to the top. And it's just stunning. You've got tunnels, you've got bridges, you get to the top, and it's absolutely spectacular how they've preserved it all and this sort of thing. And the history is just incredible. I was having a blast, really enjoying it. And then they go down, it's 10Ks down, but it wouldn't even be 0.5% in grade, I don't think. So you almost have to pedal. Again, just stunning scene. I was absolutely just loving it. Then you get on the bottom there, and there was some sort of business here that just hire bikes and e-bikes. There's a few other riders around just coming out and hiring e-bikes for the day. And then I basically had it's trail all the way into Wellington. I was staying at Upper Hutt, so I got there sort of mid-afternoon, nice motel. Again, went down to the pub and that sort of thing. I actually had considered that I might sort of get a few hours sleep and try and get an earlier ferry from Wellington. So Upper Hutt was about 35Ks from the Wellington CBD. Anyhow, after plenty to eat again, I basically just relaxed and slept through, and yeah, was looking forward to the next day. So day 16 was Upper Hutt through to Picton, obviously getting the ferry. I'd booked a ferry for about 11 o'clock, I think it was. So I was in no rush. I didn't leave till 7. I was down there in less than 2 hours. But when I got there, the ferry before had been delayed, so I managed to change my booking to that. Didn't get a cabin because it was unavailable, which I had on my booking, but it meant I was going to get in, and it didn't leave till about 11 o'clock anyway. So it meant I was going to get into Picton by mid-afternoon. So I was up at the motel in Picton by 3 o'clock. Fantastic weather, great ride across. So impressed with that rail, with the trail, and you can ride. Nice wide path all the way into Wellington. Talk about bike friendly. Anyhow, Picton's, it's a lovely spot. Had a nice to eat and relaxed. And then, yeah, just was getting ready. I was aiming to start early the next day. What I've found, I've been using the books, which are just fantastic, the Kennett Brothers books. I cannot believe I'd use them so easily, you know, at so many Ks, turn here and then turn there. And everything was fine, I had no problems. What I was finding, of course, if you're starting the morning and there's a lot of turns and that sort of thing, well, because it's so dark, I'd also loaded up the GPS files or GPX files onto, a software program. I was using Bike GPX, but there's millions of others. I found it quite simple. So it actually had the route in sections, so it broke the whole route down into 6 sections, I think it was. So I'd use that in the morning in the dark, so I could actually, on the spare phone that I carried just for that purpose, and also to take photos and that, I'd mount it on the front of my bike. It was an old iPhone, and that worked really well. And when it came daylight, I just turned it off and used the map books again. It was no problem. So that was a really good thing, and meant also the phone battery power wasn't being drained by being used all day. I didn't need to use it. I did a battery power bank, but yeah, that was a really, really good solution in the morning, so that, well, quite frankly, I didn't have to stop and look at the map book every few minutes. So I highly recommend something like that. Day 17, picked into Nelson, about 100 Ks, going over the Mangatapu track, which I was a little bit not looking forward to, basically. quite stunning coming out of Picton early in the morning, sort of seeing the ferry about to leave and then following the coast basically. It was quite cool. Got to Havelock, had a nice big breakfast at the bakery there and then promptly had another one. Then through to Pelorus Bridge, which was kind of a cool old bridge, and then you turn really onto the gravel. And after, I don't know, a dozen or so k's, you sort of head up the Mangatofu track, which I just didn't enjoy at all. There's just no other way to say it. It was 7k up and 7k down, and I reckon I walked most of it. Well, virtually all of it. It's, it was 4.5 hours. I think what I was staggered about is that even going down, I finally got to the top and I'm going, well, going down I'll be able to, just sort of slowly ride, but I was walking the majority of it. I couldn't even ride down. My wrists, which I've mentioned previously, were just seizing up. So yeah, I did not enjoy it. I wouldn't do it again. I think mountain bikers, as someone was saying, I quite enjoyed the challenge of it all, but if you can't ride it, you can't ride it, and my bike isn't going to do that. Salsafago is loaded up, was not going to do that at all. And clearly my brakes, even though I changed brake pads, put new ones on near the top of the North Island after a few days. I could feel I was going to have to change one of them yet again. But that was okay. Got down the bottom there. I was fairly buggered. I mean, stunning scenery at the bottom, yet another lake. So it was cool, and rolled into Nelson. I was staying just sort of outside the centre there. Didn't really see much of Nelson. I was just sort of like wanted to get where I was staying. Walked down. I ate basically the usual at the pub, and then basically had another entree, and then bought a pile of stuff to take back. And I was in bed by 8. I was expecting a massive day the next day, so yeah, I really just wanted to rest. I was tired from the day, not an enjoyable day. Day 18, Nelson to Murchison. I left at 4 in the morning. This is about 160k day, a lot of gravel, plenty of climbing, nothing ridiculously steep, or pretty gradual, but yeah, plenty of it. So I wanted to make sure I got there in the hours of daylight. I like to get places like about 4 to 5 at the latest, and that's why I start early, so I can sit and relax and enjoy the rest of the day and do whatever chores of washing, etc., or the bike need anything, and maybe charging up all the lights, etc., and then heading out to the pub, of course, to have my usual. Others obviously, don't mind leaving later and getting later, whatever suits. So that morning I got away. It was basically crack of dawn stuff. It was quite bizarre. I mean, I'm used to riding in the dark, but here you are, and sort of it's just pitch black. So anyhow, I got through to basically to Wakefield. It was about 30 k's. Had a 4 square there. It was quite a nice little place. Had a fantastic feed from there. Stayed there a while, and then basically that was all cycle trail really. So that basically all stopped a few k's out of there and turned into the gravel. And a long steady climb. Again, it's an old ex-railway line, I think, to Spooner's Tunnel, which is over a k long, and that was kind of cool. I quite enjoyed the climb because it's only 1%, so it's just like you can sit there and spin the pedals and just enjoy the scenery. It was great. So got through there and down, and then started some more undulation and real sort of back of nowhere stuff really, a few farms and that around, and then a pedal came off. So my left pedal came off the spindle. Spindle was still there, but the pedal came off. It did remind me, because I'm going, hold on, these aren't even sealed bearings or anything. So that when I bought the bike a few years ago, I didn't have the level of pedal I wanted in stock, so I put a cheaper version on. I didn't even think of it. So yeah, then I started calculating in my head, this is a Saturday, I'm not going to get to Murchison till late afternoon. They had like a sports store or something, but that was all going to be closed up. Then I realised, okay, then on Sunday nothing's going to be open. So I'm really going to be stuck with this thing until probably Monday, and I get to Greymouth. That was all within 30 seconds of it falling off. So basically it meant that for the last sort of 60, 70 k's of the Saturday, I basically the pedal coming off every 20 k's when I forget to sort of hold it in against the crank, and it would slide off, and then the spindle of course would graze my leg, and so I'd swear profusely again with nobody actually there to hear me, and that's how my day unfolded. Got to Murchison, pretty happy to be off the bike, then turned around and walked down to the local pub and did the usual, going, yeah, okay, that's life. Murchison, pretty little town, yeah, enjoyed that, but I was, not happy about the bike, but that's life. I mean, it's just a pedal coming off, but 2 more days and I'm going, okay, we'll think about what to do next. 19, Murchison to Reefton, about 125 k's, 80 k's before you sort of got anywhere, or you get into eat or anything. Most of that was gravel. It included a climb to Mariua. I've definitely pronounced that wrong. Saddle, about 600 metres, but it was gradual. It was 10 k's really of just steady climbing, but it was all quite rideable. That was fine, and then you sort of headed down into Springs Junction, which had a service station. About 5 k's from Springs Junction it started to rain, and then it just got horrendously heavy. So I got on the servo and sort of sat there for an hour or so, and then going, okay, it was alright. They had hot food, so I was fine for an hour, just sitting on basically on the tarmac really. That was fine outside the toilets, but that was alright. Then it sort of cleared up, so I had about 40 odd k's to go, or 45, so he climbed for about 6 k's up to the Rahu Saddle, and then it was sealed road down for about 35 k's. It's actually incredibly boring. You just sort of sit there and glide down and pedal occasionally, but anyhow, I wasn't complaining. Just concentrated on the pedal, which of course fell off, and then of course you're already 50 or 100 metres down the road, so you had to go back and pick it up again, but that was okay. Pulled into Reefton, stayed in this, got there, I think I was there by about 3 o'clock, and stayed in the Lantern Port Motel. I only mention it because it was kind of cool. I reckon it must have been an old pub in its day, and there's all these sort of cabin, which basically mine was like a 1-bedroom, quite a large apartment, and old but really cool, immaculate, just so clean. Went down the bakery, and they were closing, been doing takeaway, so I bought up large of course, and ate there, and then put some aside for the next day, and then I thought, and then I went down to the pub, which is a cool old pub, the Reefton Hotel. Ate and drank there. Really nice, nice place. Reefton is clearly they spend a fair bit of time and effort for the tourism and cycling and hiking and all that sort of stuff. It was a really nice little town. Back to the motel, slept well. Had to make a decision. The next day was like whether or not you went up on the trail, which was 5 to 7 hours of like really tough cycling, and I wasn't really impressed the idea of doing it. It's called the Big River Hut Trail, I think it is. It's fine for mountain bikers, but again, it's not recommended for, they call them cycle tourists. I count myself a bit of that. Also, the fact of having the pedal, I go, no, I need to get to Greymouth. So I was going to do the alternate tomorrow. Wanted to get there, get that sorted and relax. So I went to bed with that decision, that I wasn't going to spend 5 to 7 hours slugging through that. I'd rather do the alternate route and get through to Greymouth. So I slept well. Day 20, Reefton to Greymouth. Got a reasonably early start as I was quite keen to get to Greymouth and get the pedal sorted, as I decided to not do the big river trail. Yeah, pretty happy about that. Gorgeous ride, I mean, thoroughly gorgeous ride. I really enjoyed it. Basically, it was sort of like a road that almost you could see the main highway, but you weren't on the main highway, so it was sealed for virtually all of it. Went through some roadworks, and of course on traffic lights, but there were workmen there, but of course the pedal fell off about 3 times going through it, so it was, yeah, I held a bit of traffic, but that's life. Ducked a little detour up to the historic town of Blackball, which had the Blackball Hilton Hotel, so took the photo and thought, yeah, okay, that's what that is. Into Greymouth by lunchtime, straight into the bike shop, which was a cycle and security lock business. Anyhow, it was a fabulous service, really enjoyed that. Had 3 lots of flat pedals there, took the most expensive, and it was a Shimano pedal, had them on in 5 minutes, others went in the bin. Also got some long finger gloves. I've been using short finger gloves, but I started to notice a bit of cold in the morning when I headed out from Reefton, and also saw snow for the first time on the mountains and going, oh, that's not that high up really. So anyhow, that was alright, but into Greymouth. I used to live in Greymouth when I was 5, so obviously I have no recollection, it was only for a year or 2. So anyhow, did the usual, found the motel, pretty happy cycling around on the bike with the pedals. Foot took a while to adjust again, that didn't have to try and hold the pedal on, which I thought was quite amusing. So we went to the local pub and did the usual, and slept well, and I was looking forward to the next day. It was a good day.